now it's time to move on and test my vacuum table. Now the spoil board isn't prepped at all. I haven't surfaced the top, and the edges are wide open, as you can see. But I do need to know how well this thing's going to suck my wood. I mean, hold the wood. Hold my wood. Hold a piece of wood. Hold the material down. Yeah, I need to know how well this is going to hold my material down. Now, of course, first I start off with a normal sized piece of wood. And yeah, nothing's happening here. I didn't think anything would. Then I move on to a more above average sized piece of wood. Let's take a look, and there we go. There it is. This had a little bow in it, so the edges were curled up. That wasn't going to work, so I flip it over. Yeah, maybe I'll flip it over. So the bow is in the middle, and lo and behold, she's a sucking. I can't move that thing at all. Yep, it's stuck. It's stuck good. I ain't faking it. Cool. I think that's gonna work. That's good enough for good enough. I need to adjust the tramming on that spindle. Okay, I got the spindle trimmed in a little better. I'm going to run it without the front cover on at first, and I'm going to put the probably put the Nighthawk dust boot on there. Alright, so I'm ready to surface this board. Little did I know at the time that my wife came home, plugged her car in, which is plugged into the garage. I have the heat pump in the print room running. I have the heat pump in this room running. I have the vacuum table. I have a dust collector, and I have a spindle running all at the same time, and an air compressor on a 60 amp panel. Yep, that's exactly what happens. Yeah, lost power. I fumble around in the dark for a minute trying to find a light switch. Dummy. Light switch isn't going to work. But then I found the breaker and, yeah, turned the power back on, unplugged the car, and turned off the heat pumps. Let's try this with a little bit less power. Okay. Car's unplugged. Oh my goodness. Home. Well, the surfacing went well. That motor is dialed in as far as tramming goes. It is, you can't even feel anything. It's flush. Alright, so we're going to cut a real piece of wood. I made two mistakes here. The first one being I set my Z-safe height on the return to home, or the parking, to 0, thinking machine coordinates 0 is Z-safe. No, this is work coordinates. So Z-safe set to 0 means the top of the spoil board or the bottom of the material that I'm cutting. So when it finished cutting, it said, oh, I gotta go park myself. And it dropped down to 0 and did a diagonal rip all the way across 2 panels, which was, yeah, that was fun. Ended up kind of damaging, well, not damaging, but I had to pull the spindle off and retram everything and put a couple extra bolts on, going through the spindle mount, through the tramming plate, and then into the actual Z plate behind that. Just to make things a little bit more stiff, and yeah, now after this. Yeah, it's this cut that once it's done. I didn't get it on video, unfortunately, but you'll see. That's how it went. Okay, all's fixed. All right, so this cut is going pretty good. I'm using on this cut and the previous one, a 3/8 inch compression bit at 18,000 RPM. This cut I dropped down to 200 inches per minute, whereas the previous I was at 400 inches per minute. It was doing it, bogged down the motor just a little bit, but it was doing it just fine. I could probably run that safely. But I cannot, or I'm not using the 3/8 bit anymore for my profile cuts. I've switched to a 1/4 inch bit, mainly because for the blind dados, I need the smaller radius. Alright, so this cut was mostly successful. I need to adjust my onion skin trimming depth, because as you can see, it didn't cut all the way through. Now, what the onion skin means is that as it's cutting before it makes its final pass, it's going to leave a thin layer of material on the bottom, so that way it doesn't interrupt the whole vacuum table, so you don't have a whole bunch of gaps. And then what it's supposed to do on the final cut was remove the rest of that onion skin, and I have it very conservative right now. So it's not cutting deep enough to remove that. That's not a big deal. I'll just use a trim router and finish it all up. But the next one, I'm going to adjust the files, adjust the settings, and see if I can't get that onion skin to remove. Now, what can happen is when you do remove that onion skin, your bit, if you go too deep, you're going to be cutting into your spoil board. So it's kind of like a balance of how deep do you go versus, how much do you want to deal with the onion skin afterwards. We'll get it sorted out one way or another. Alright, so I adjusted a few things. Got my depth of cut right for the onion skin. Just cutting into the spoil board, just ever so slightly. I might tweak that a little bit more. I also adjusted the hold down pattern. So instead of doing individual cutouts of each piece, I set it to maximize the vacuum surface while it's cutting. So it kind of did a perimeter pattern, went through, and then it just kind of separated each piece according to size. And well, here's what we got. We got some cabinet parts all cut out. Yeah, I can feel a little bit in the spoil board where it went through, but that's pretty normal. I'll every so many sheets I'll probably end up resurfacing the spoil board until there isn't any spoil board left, and then I'll just put a new one on. Alright, so it is assembly time. I've got all my cabinet parts all cut out. Got my edge bander and trimmer out of storage, got them set up. I need to edge band these faces, and I think I'm going to do all four corners, or all four faces of the adjustable shelves. So let me turn this edge bander on, get it nice and warm. See if I remember how to use this thing. Okay, we got shelves. I'm not going to get too close because I made some mistakes. Well, let's see what those mistakes are. Okay, mistake number one was, I didn't realize it, but it was expecting me to put edge banding on the bottom here, so it cut this accordingly. So it's minus point something, 0.21 inch on top and bottom, so they're not exactly flush. I've adjusted that in the software. I don't want banding on the bottom, so that's fixed. And if you'll notice that my edge banding here is not flush because apparently I can't cut a straight line. Let's see what else. Yeah, that's kind of the major issue. You can see it a little bit more here, where it's kind of expecting that edge banding to be there to fill that gap. I didn't mount these very well. I didn't use any special hardware other than some screws, because this is the garage and these are just going to be open-faced shelves. They serve the purpose. I got lots of places to stick stuff now in here. Alright, here's the box, cabinet, whatever you want to call it, mini cabinet. So I'm doing a blind dado on the top and bottom, and I was on the previous cabinets using the 3/8 bit to do all my shape cutting. Now this is not glued or clamped together or anything, but that 3/8 bit radius was too shallow for this blind dado, and I ended up having to straighten this corner out in order to get it to fit. But now that I switched to a 1/4 inch bit, that is no longer an issue, so that fits nice and good. I changed the style of edge banding so it doesn't require banding on these tops and bottoms. So everything
is flush, and then everything here on these joints is pretty flush. Need some clamps to hold it together, but it's just being held together by itself. Not too bad. All right. Oh, there's a little mini cabinet box thing.